Hi, my sweet friends. Hey, I'm gonna just go over the sheet that I sent yesterday on the reading comprehension, just to go over it and review it and make sure you guys are doing it and you're doing it correctly. I showed you one time how to do it, and then I've been sending them every day. So this one was sent yesterday. So you've already done this one. I'm sending you fresh new ones today. So we're just going to review it and kind of go over it so that you are making sure that you're doing it correctly. So the reading comprehension, what I mean by that is when we read something, do we understand what we're reading? And that is super important that we do. So sometimes, like I told you before, we might have to read the sentence again or the sentences again to make sure that we are fully understanding what we read. So we're going to read this little story. Sledding is the title. The title is Sledding. That's what little story is called. And it says this. I'll try to point to the words as well. Dan loves to sled. He will sled down the hill with Jan. Jan is Dan's sister. Okay, so number one, who loves to sled? Who loves? Set it up here. Dan does. So we're going to circle Dan. We didn't talk about Dad, did we? No. Since we didn't talk about Dad, we know that can't be the answer. So Dan, and we checked it up here and it said Dan. What will he do? Okay. Sled with Jan or go inside? What will he do? What did it say up here that he was going to do? He will, it says it, sled down the hill with Jan. Did it say anything about going inside? No, it didn't. So we do not want that one because it didn't even talk about that up in our little story up here. And now, who is Jan? Dan's friend or Dan's sister? Well, we go up here and it says Jan is Dan's sister. So which one is it? It's Dan's sister. And that's how we do it. So you see how Ms. Dawn went back up to the actual story to check her work. And that's okay. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to be able to go back up and reread it if you need to reread it, or take your time and make sure the questions and make sure you're reading them correctly. So that you can get the right answers. Don't put words in or take words out. Just take your time and read that to get a full understanding on how to do that. So just thought I'd give you a little review on that. I know that also that I'm sending you guys and you're getting the scrambled sentences. Ms. Dawn bent this one. It's okay. This was the one sent yesterday as well. It's number 6. And you have to cut these out. When you're cutting these out, guys, friends, cut real nice and straight on these dotted lines. Because when you're gluing them up here, it makes the puzzle and it puts the puzzle together. And if they're not cut straight, then it doesn't quite piece together correctly. And so then after we're done putting the puzzle together correctly, this one is going to say, I can walk. And then since it's a short sentence, you can write it 2 times right here. I can walk, I can walk. And you notice after the word walk, there's a period. It ends the sentence. It ends a thought. So we always put a punctuation mark there, which is the period, to end the sentence and to end that thought. So you guys should be doing these as well. It's a little fun, and you can even color it after you are finished doing the puzzle. Just let your glue dry, because your glue will need to dry, or otherwise your paper will rip and things like that. And then the other one that I'm sending you is a Fluency one too, and it's usually reviewing one of our sight words. And if you haven't gotten to the sight word according to your list, it's okay. We can just focus on it. But this happens to be can. And then we're going to read line by line. My sister. My sister can. Ooh, that's our sight word. My sister can play. My sister can play the. My sister can play the flute. My sister can play the flute well. Now, since this one's a very long sentence down here, you only need to write it one time because you're probably going to need both of those lines to write your sentence. When you are writing your sentence, I really want you to take your time as you're writing them. I want you to make sure that you are touching the attic and that you're touching the basement of the lines as you're making each one of these letters. And you're giving a space in between the words, just like there's spaces in between here, because if they're all put together, they look like one word, and then we wouldn't be able to read them. So make sure you're giving them a little bit of space so we can see each word, and each word stands by itself. And then, of course, we're going to end it, the sentence, our thought, a complete thought, with a period. And that's what we're going to end it with. Because it's not a question, it's just a statement. They're just telling you something. And then down here when you're done, you can answer the 2 questions that they have that's about this very last sentence, the full thought. Who can play the flute? Well, who plays the flute? Who did it say up here? My sister. So it's either my brother, me, or my sister. Did we talk about my brother? No. Did we talk about me? No, but we did talk about my sister because it's right up here in the sentence too, okay? Then move over here. It says, my sister can play the, well, let's read them. Drum, flute, flute, or piano. Okay, did we talk about a drum? Do you remember talking about a drum up here? Does she have a drum in her hand? Okay, is she playing a piano? No. But she is playing a flute, and it says up here, my sister can play the flute well. So again, you can cross out some answers because we didn't even talk about the drum or the piano in that story at all. So we know it can't be that because how do we know if his sister can play that? They weren't talking about that. But what she was talking about was the flute. So that's how we knew the answer. So sometimes you can cross out the answers because, well, we didn't even read about that in there. Okay? So I hope you guys are working on those because it not only helps with your reading comprehension, it helps you read as you keep practicing as you read. And then also it's helping you with your handwriting because when you get in kindergarten, woo! You guys need to be ready to write because you're going to have a lot of things to write. You get to write in your journals and get to write letters and notes back and forth to your moms, your dads. And so we want to keep practicing that handwriting to make sure that we are writing so that when we do write, everybody will be able to read what we're writing. Okay, guys, I love you and I'll see you soon. See ya.